Hello everyone, Books with Banks back again, this time just to provide a few channel updates. I know it's been a while since I've been on here, just work's been busy, different things have been going on. I do have a wedding coming up in March, so wedding planning's definitely been part of my busier schedule. Anyway, I'm really excited to be back and excited to be recording a few more videos, and I have a few exciting things lined up for the next few months. I just wanted to give a few updates on where my channel's at, certain series that I'm planning on starting here in the next month or so. And I also want this to be an opportunity for me to post this quick little update video, and also I'll give anyone watching a few prompts, a few things to respond to, some feedback, ways that I can make some of my upcoming plans and upcoming videos even better. So first things first, the books. What have I read and finished up reading recently? So I did finish Diana Gabaldon's fourth Outlander book, Drones of Autumn. I really loved it, and I'll have in sort of lieu of a review for this, because I already did kind of like a halfway review check-in, I'll have a video ranking everything I've read in the Outlander kind of series, expanded kind of different series. I'll have a ranking of those works. So that's 4 main novels, 1 side novel, and like 2 or 3 short story novella type deals. So yeah, I'll have that ranking coming up soon here. When I get to this entry, it being the most recent one I read, I'll give a little bit more thorough explanation for why it fit into the ranking where it does. So yeah, finished reading that a few weeks ago. I also read this short story called The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas by Ursula K. Le Guin. And this is a wonderful story, very short. I highly recommend, if this is the first time you're hearing about it, if maybe you've heard about it, but you just haven't gone after it yet, or given it a try yet, I definitely recommend stop what you're doing now and definitely give this short story a read. I should say that it's the first Ursula K. Le Guin that I have ever read, and I don't want to spoil anything about the story, but I had heard that this was a great Ursula K. Le Guin story on one hand, right? I had heard, oh, you have to read Le Guin's The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas. It's brilliant and poses this really fascinating question. And really forces. It's just a very thought-provoking short story for especially how short it is. So that was in my mind. There's this great Ursula K. Le Guin thought-provoking story I need to read. Years ago, when I was in like a creative writing class in high school, I remember my teacher telling us the premise of a story that sounded really intriguing, and he explained exactly what happens in the story, kind of what the point is, what most people's interpretations are of this story, and I just never had connected that the story he was describing back then that sounded so intriguing was this same Le Guin story. So when I started reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, I know what this is about, and I was just so happy to kind of connect those two things. But yeah, again, it's a brilliant short story. I highly recommend anyone check it out. That's The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas by Ursula K. Le Guin. Then that's really the only stuff I finished reading. I am starting Sarah J. Maas's third ACOTAR book, A Court of Wings and Ruin. I'm about 70 pages in right now. I'm really liking it so far. Again, I think I like this series more than I expected to, and yeah, definitely. I'm definitely glad I'm giving it a try. Also, from what I understand, this being the third book, it sort of closes out in the first sort of trilogy, even though ACOTAR is like 5 books. Even the fourth one's kind of shorter, but yeah, I think this should be kind of like the end of kind of a era of the series, or of that first trilogy of the larger series. So yeah, I'm enjoying my time with this, and I'm trying to kind of pick up the pace on this one. Hopefully I'll have this read and reviewed by the halfway point of October. Then, on Joanna's recommendation from Joanna Reads, I picked up Needy Okorafor's Who Fears Death. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that name. Please let me know down below. But yeah, Who Fears Death. I am what I studied in school, especially in my second degree program, was genocide studies, kind of comparative genocides, and so I'm really kind of looking to get back into studying genocide, but instead of just studying it through like primary sources of real world genocide, I'm really curious to explore how genocides are portrayed in the works of sci-fi and fantasy. And Joanna recommended this as a great book, a great kind of window into my research interests. So yeah, this will be the first Okorafor book that I'll be reading, and I've heard nothing but wonderful things about this author. So yeah, I'm really excited to start this. If not after A Court of Wings and Ruin, then sometime while I'm reading that one. Yeah. Really excited to start that. Also, the third, or Philip Chase's third Adan book just came out, and I still haven't started his second, The Prophet of Adan, but I do hope to start this and have this read by maybe not the end of the month. Again, things are still busy, even though I have found a little bit of time here to start recording an update, but I'm hoping to have definitely no later than the end of November. I'll be finished with this, and I'll have a review up of this one. I think it would be nice to kind of envision myself during like Christmas time reading the third book in this trilogy. I really like the first one, and I'm excited to keep going there. So that's all the updates on what I'm reading, about to read, what I just finished up reading. Now I want to shift this video over kind of into introducing a new series I want to do. And I've already kind of done the first part of this series, or the first 3 videos in this series actually, and this is my fantasy survivor, but not just, making up survivor season or picking players like you would in like a fantasy football type thing. No, I'm using the word fantasy kind of in a double meaning sort of way, where I take fantasy characters, fantasy, maybe even entire books, and plug them into this simulation sort of thing to see how these characters might fare against each other in a made-up fantasy version of a Survivor game. So I'm really excited to continue this series. The first 3 that I did were like the first season of my Fantasy Survivor was all a bunch of booktubers that I'm a big fan of. Please, if you're curious who came out on top there, who was working with who I kind of like had find idols and betray each other, feel free to go check those out. I had a lot of fun making that, and now based on some comments I got on those videos and just a conversation with like AP, some comments from Jake Bishop in particular, I'm thinking about doing a Malazan characters Survivor game, and I already kind of have the boot order and like which characters I'd be using figured out. A big correction I'm making here over the booktube one was there was definitely a gender imbalance in my casting of the booktube one, so with the Malazan series I've made sure to make things a lot more equal and diverse, I guess. So yeah, I'm really excited to kind of start developing the story and the narrative to explain that boot order for the Malazan character Survivor videos. I'm also a really big fan of the Mass Effect video game series, and I'm working on pitting all of those different characters that can kind of be your companions in those games, pitting them all against each other in a mock Survivor game. So that one's coming along very well too. I'm really excited to get into those series. I might do each of those in 2 or 3 part like video series to just explain how those games go, and to explain how those games go, who's working with whom, leave off on some cliffhangers, some really exciting rounds of gameplay and whatnot. But with me starting this series, I do want to give you all, everyone watching, the opportunity to recommend other casts of characters or other types of things or people that I could plug into this survivor simulation. And I'd love to hear anyone's thoughts on type of game that I could do here. For example, I could take different houses in Martin's Game of Thrones and plug them into a survivor simulation. That could be one of them. But yeah, I really want to kind of keep going with this series. I want to keep the ball rolling there. Also, on this note, I understand a lot of people that might be watching my videos may have come here for the fantasy books and me talking about sci-fi and fantasy and fiction and stuff. And you might not be the biggest Survivor fans. So if there's any interest in me doing kind of a Survivor explanation video, or me making any content to talk about, maybe what are good seasons of the Survivor show to start with, what are the pros of Survivor, what are the cons, what are things you kind of have to get used to with the show, what are my favorite aspects, players, seasons of the show. I'd love to make videos about Survivor as well, but I just don't want to totally pivot my channel away from fantasy. However, if there is an interest in a video of me just getting a little bit more into my Survivor love itself, if anyone wants a little more explanation of that game, how to watch it, why to watch it, why you may not want to watch it, those sorts of things, based on what I've been doing with the Survivor with the fantasy characters and stuff, let me know, and I'd love to make videos along those lines. All that said, coming up here really soon, expect a couple ranking videos. One was the Outlander, what I've read so far, ranking video, and that'll be up in a few days after this one. And then after that, I'll have another video ranking a lot of the movies and sci-fi fantasy franchises that I grew up watching that would be on replay on VHS and would basically constantly be playing except for the time that it took to rewind all of those VHS tapes. Thank you all so much for watching, and I really look forward to closing out the year strong with a lot of content, and I hope to get a lot of good content out there and to engage with the community on here a lot more. Thank you all. Bye.